I'm here to tell you, let me just put the headline up top. I don't like grading final exam essays. They tend to drone on. They tend to be some conglomeration of every thought my freshman students ever had about mass media. I ask you, what does mass media and society mean to you? And I get a lot of answers that make a little bit of sense. And I love my students, and I'm teaching them well, I think, but I wanted to do something different with the final exam. This is a work in progress. We're designing an app that will serve as the essay for my final exam for my students in MassComm 201, Mass Media and Society. And I got 3 computer science undergraduate students who are building me this app. They put out a request at our university every semester who wants something done for them with computers. And I said, me, build me an app. I thought they would build me a bespoke final exam essay. Instead, they built me an exam development app. And it's still in progress, but it's really cool. And so I wanted to share with you one of the hiccups that we hit in development. And even for the computer science students who are pretty well versed in this, there was some question about what's augmented reality versus an alternate reality game. What are we even doing here? What's the point? What we're doing is basically building an amazing race into an app with different tiers that students have to cross in order to progress to the next level of the final exam essay. The goal is for the students to be immersed in this experience, to come out, sweatier than Albert Brooks in broadcast news. I got my BJ in broadcast here in 2002, and I'm sweaty. So I can relate. And I wanted them to really feel like they had accomplished something, like they'd been through something. So that's the basic concept behind this. But I wanted to do an explication of terms. And these terms aren't really visible. I'm going to share this with you through Twitter and through SlideShare. But really quickly, alternate reality games are immersive gaming. They include puzzles, and they can be done online or offline. And that's not to be confused with augmented reality. Augmented reality is an overlay on reality using wearable technology like Google Glass or using your smartphone. You're probably familiar with that. Virtual reality, or VR, is a synthetic environment. You wear it and you are completely immersed in it. And hyperreality then is kind of the meta concept of losing yourself in technology, of being so fully enveloped in the simulacrum that you aren't necessarily experiencing what's real anymore. And so we're going to play a little game called Identify. Is this an alternate reality game? Is this augmented reality, virtual reality, or hyperreality? But the take-home message, I think one take-home message is to teach our students to be critical of hyperreality, even as we're teaching them through immersive technologies, to use immersive technology, but also through immersive technologies. So this is the Institute. If you've seen the movie, it's pretty obvious what it is. The Institute is a documentary film about a real experience for people. They would stumble upon this in San Francisco. They would see an ad placed somewhere in the city. They would go to an office. They would be presented with a video. They would decide to join up or not. They would be followed by flash mobs. They would be chased around the city. People got really deep in this. So the question to you is, what does that sound like? An alternate reality game or augmented reality VR? What is it? Well, that's not good. Speaking of altered reality, altered states, it's an alternate reality game. The next one I want to show you is pretty obvious. There can be marker-based versions of this technology. There can be ones that are based on overlaying with physical spaces, buildings that you can see in real life. You've probably seen this in Steven Spielberg's AI. What is this? This is augmented reality. Cool. Something like Layer, other apps, right? What is this? Exactly. So culminating in what is real, how do you define real? That leaves us It leaves us with hyperreality when our experiences are governed by interactions with symbols that we take to be real, even if they're not real. But they parallel real things. And I'm going to get all academic for a second. Baudrillard calls it a desert of the real. Desert of the real means the real world ain't good enough anymore. I only want my Facebook. I've fallen asleep saying that to myself before. It's really troubling. And so in questioning that, I want to teach my students to question it as well. Images brought to us through broadband internet, through television, through technologies not yet defined, can be our primary way of interacting with the world. I want to teach students to question and to challenge that, but at the same time to have a really immersive experience and to feel like they're practicing journalism, they're practicing information gathering, they're practicing critical thinking. And so the game itself, again, a lot of text, sorry about that. The game itself has 5 steps. They must recite the First Amendment to be presented with the QR code. I don't know if I'm going to get them in little yellow tickets, but I would basically give the QR code to the department chair, and if he deems their recitation close enough or perfect enough, they get to scan the QR code with their iPads. Everybody in my class has an iPad. This is not an access issue because I got this through an Open Education Resources pilot project. I signed up for it, and the university bought them for me. I've got 20 students, and they can each check one out, and if it fails, they can recheck it. Step 2, they actually do a little trivia crack. It's just to kind of get people to line up so that they don't all clump together. They have to answer, out of a test bank of 15, they have to answer 10 questions exactly right before they can progress. They're going to grab a soundbite from someone dressed up like a public information officer from a fire department, local buildings on fire, and they need to submit to me the soundbite cut out of a video. They need to capture a product photo, and as time progresses, I'm going to start taking bites out of the product just to kind of throw a challenge at them. And step 5 is extemporaneous media criticism. My team have built me a little media reader, and underneath of it a little text editor where they can enter key concepts in the story and their critique of the coverage, and then they need to record a video presentation extemporaneously. Essentially, I have to put it together in about 5 minutes and tell me what they think is right or wrong, what's controversial, identify the controversy, and explain it in 5 minutes or less, which I'm not very good at. But these are my guys. These are my team: Gage Hugo, Eric Neely, and Jeff Augustine. I have a prototype I can show you on my iPad, and they built me a backender on the web. Authentication for the exam is done through our university's information technology services, so we know who's taking the exam. And that's it.
No red pill, blue pill? No red pill, blue pill? You had the Matrix reference. No? All right, we got a question over here.
Feedback from the students on this?
Well, what I'm going to do is test each level and not tell them that that's what I'm doing, but we're going to debug and test throughout the semester. I'm going to have them memorize and show them a QR code. So they'll have the app. It'll be in beta, and we'll be running it, through. They'll just be classroom exercises, like participation points kind of stuff, and we'll test all 5 parts. I haven't told them much about it because this semester's class doesn't get it. It's not ready till December. But next year, I'll come back here and tell you how it went.